Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptop C, and you're listening to my podcast, Vox and Hops, brought to you by Sound Talent Media, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians to talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. This is another Heavy Montreal presents Vox and Hops episode. I can't tell you guys how excited I am to have Heavy Montreal behind the podcast. Heavy Montreal is Montreal's premier metal promoter. They put on one of North America's best metal festivals. And trust me, I've played them all, and I'm telling you that Heavy Montreal is up there with the best of them. I'm so proud and so stoked to have Heavy Montreal involved with Vox and Hops. They had over 60 amazing shows lined up during 2020, and sadly, due to COVID-19, they have had to cancel and or postpone a bunch of them. But I got some good news for you people. There are some monster shows that have already been rescheduled, and here are just a few of those to get you guys excited, and you can go pick up the tickets for these shows via the link in the description of this podcast. They have rescheduled already Parkway Drive, featuring Hatebreed, Knock Loose, and Fit for a King. That's going to be happening on September 5th, 2020. You should go check that out. You know, that one's going to be a banger. They have also rescheduled this monster of a tour, Megadeth co-headlining with Lamb of God, featuring Trivium and In Flames. What a fucking lineup. So cool. Get those tickets. You can do that via the link in description. Trust me, I'm going to be there, and let's bang our heads together. On today's Heavy Montreal Presents Vox and Hops episode, I am with John Espen Sagstad of TrollfesT. Here it is. This is Vox and Hops episode number 177.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm with John Espen Sagstad, or also known as Mr. Seidel of TrollfesT. How are you doing? How is everything? How have you been coping with the madness that is our world now? How are you coping with COVID-19 and now the subsequent deconfinement?
Yeah.
How are you doing there?
I'm good. Like I just said, I'm working on a bit of a hangover, but it's Sunday, so that's normal, I guess. It's like you said, it's been pretty crazy months lately. No shows, having to stay at home. So I'm working as a programmer, computer. So I've been working at home now since mid-March. So it's kind of weird, not being able to live the normal life. But at least here in Norway now, things are starting to open up again. Bars have opened, and things are getting more and more back to normal.
Which is nice, and it feels nice. And
Yeah.
It's strange that this is the new normal.
Yeah, I know.
And we have to get used to that. How is it for you being a touring musician? What did you guys have in the works? How much stuff got canceled? What was your 2020 supposed to be like? And how disappointing is it that it's not like that?
We had a lot of stuff planned. We were going on a big tour in North America. Was supposed to happen in, was it April? And we were really looking forward to that because the last time we toured North America was in 2015.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, so that was a big bummer. And we had a lot of cool festivals lined up this summer as well in Europe. That also got cancelled. But we tried to look a little bit on the positive side, like, okay, we can't tour or play any concerts, so then instead we have just started focusing on writing a new album.
Good. Very
cool.
I
mean, we can't do anything else, and why not use the time a little bit more efficient, and just we are stuck at home, so let's make some music instead.
Well, how does TrollfesT go about writing new music? What is a typical songwriting process for you guys?
It's probably not like many other bands. We never make music at rehearsal. We sit at home individually or team up and just send riffs back and forth, or one person can make a song from make the entire song and just send it on email, And usually the first time we play a song together is when we have to start rehearsing for a tour or a show. So yeah, it's a weird way, but that's what we have been doing since day one, because eventually this band was never supposed to be a band.
Exactly, yeah.
It was more of a fun thing among friends, and we uploaded some songs to a homemade webpage that was only supposed to be for us, that we could download the songs at other friends' parties, so we can, hey, listen to this. And then all of a sudden, some crazy German label guy stumbled over our webpage and offered us a contract. So yeah, it's weird, and it just took off from there. We released, I think, 2 albums, and we started to get a lot of like interesting show offers, but we didn't even have a band. So we're like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? So okay, we just have to make a band and start playing. And now we are working on what, album number 9 or 8, and we have had countless tours, countless festivals. So from being a silly home project, things kind of took off, and I'm really happy about it now.
That's cool. See, I can see like a movie about this. This is really, really cool.
Yeah, that would be an interesting movie.
You know, you only dream of this. It's like that kid dream. Did you always aspire to be a touring musician?
Well, yeah. I had many other projects back then that we were like heavily working, trying to get a record deal. That was my biggest dream, to have a record deal. Imagine that. And then TrollfesT gets an offer, while my other projects is like working uphill, no interest, and it hurts a little bit back then. But on the other side, it was also really funny that, okay, this is the way it's gonna go, then let's just fucking go with it.
That's life, eh? It's you get sometimes you just have to take what's given to you.
Yeah, I know.
And everything happens for a reason, absolutely, in life.
Yeah.
Vox&Hops is all about hanging out with my metal friends, talking about their lives, music, and craft beer. What beer are you drinking over there? Nursing that hangover. This is your hair of the dog. What do you got there?
I got it's a Norwegian beer called Juicy IPA. It's a really light summer beer with kind of like a mango taste to it. And I have another super nice beer waiting for me.
Oh, yes, of course.
Metallica.
From Stone.
Yeah, it's Metallica is my religion, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, like that is my religion.
Nice.
Yeah.
On my side, I'm drinking, or going to be drinking, Echo Session Ales. This is their Session Funk. It is their first barrel-aged brew. This is from one of the coolest microbrews here in Montreal. They only make session beers, which means that it's less than 5%. Most of the time, it's less than 4%. And this is their 1-year anniversary brew. A huge shout out to JF Legency, their head brewer, their mastermind, the lunatic himself. I love him to death. And he gave me this to share with my friends during my podcast. So this is a session funk. So it's a funky session that's been barrel aged. It has some Brett yeast, so the wild yeast. It's got some hibiscus flowers. It's got some pomegranates and some cranberries. And it clocks in at a very light 3.9%. And it was aged in, I want to say, oak barrels. Correct me if I'm wrong, JF, when you listen to this, please. So I'm going to crack this. Tell me about the Norwegian craft beer scene. I know from having toured there that the Crowbar is a really cool place. Let's just start with that.
Yeah, and there has been, the last couple of years, it has exploded with, there you go, with microbreweries. It's become extremely popular here now. And there's so many, let's do the cheers.
Virtual cheers, yes.
Cheers. No, it's, beer has become very popular here now. How was the taste?
It's awesome. It's nice and light. Has that complex bready bite from the wild yeast. You can taste the sour of ping and of the cranberries, but yet still sweet from the pomegranate. Very cool. Cheers to Echo Session Ales. Happy 1-year anniversary. I can't wait to see what these guys are going to keep doing in the local
Nice.
craft beer scene here. So keep going on the, I'm sorry about that.
You have to introduce me to this when we come to Canada.
I'll bring you some, 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, where was I? The last couple of years, the interest for beer has exploded, I would say. There's microbreweries everywhere now. And there's more and more bars popping up with insane amounts of beer on drafts. And they get beers from microbreweries. There's a couple of cool places in Oslo now where every month they change out the beers they have. So like every time you come back there, it's like a new pub. There's like so much interesting beer to taste. My favorite is actually sour beer.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm weak for sour beer. That is definitely one of my favorites.
I love how they play with sour beers and make it more. They treat it closer to a wine, and it becomes more and more complex. I love that, the complexity of sour beers, and especially when they blend them together. The blended sours, very nice.
May I ask you? You said most microbrewery beers are under 5%. Is that by law?
No, just this brewery.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's a Echo Session Ale, so he only makes session beers.
Yeah,
but here in Quebec, no, we have the rule is that they need to be underneath 12% to be sold outside of the liquor store. So if it was over 12%, it has to be sold at our government-ran liquor store. It's called here in Quebec the SAQ. But you can do anything up until 11.9. And most of the time when they put 11.9, you know that it's over 12%.
It's actually 5% here in Norway, I think. Sell in normal stores.
Yes.
So
Scandinavian countries have very strict liquor laws.
Yeah, in Sweden, I think it's even lower.
Mm-hmm.
So good for you that you have up to 12%.
Yeah, it's dangerous though.
I know, but fun.
Dangerous but fun, yes. Let's touch on a classic. You mentioned that Metallica is your life, is your law. What would have been the soundtrack of your youth when you were growing up, when you were not in control of the music? What music was playing in your house? What music did your parents or guardians listen
to? My parents, they never listened to that much music, but of course they had a lot of CDs laying around and vinyl. I used to take their Elton John and Queen CDs. I played that a lot. But one part of my family is really like music, and the other part not so much. But the music side was more into classical music and what's it called? Like band, with horns and all that.
Yeah, a big band, or
similar to that. So when I grew up, it was more sports. That was gonna be my thing. Like I wanted to be a football star.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But kind of overdid it. Fucked up both my knees to the point where I couldn't play soccer anymore. I had to stop for a year, and that's when music like completely grabbed me, and playing guitar was the new thing for me. But
how old were you when this happened?
This was when I was 15 or 16.
Okay.
I played guitar before that as well. I started playing guitar when I was 10 or 11 because my grandpa, he was my big idol when it came to music, and he learned me in the beginning how to play the guitar, and he wrote notes to me and like kept me going with the music. But it was when I had that year of not being able to play football. That's when the music just grew, and I never looked back.
Is that when you found Metallica? Did that go hand in hand?
No, Metallica I started listening to around the time I actually started playing the guitar. So I that was it's an elementary school. It's called, like the first school you go to. There was one in my class that had Kill 'Em All on tape, and I copied that from him, and that was by far the coolest thing I'd ever heard. Before that, it was Guns N' Roses and Michael Jackson that I was listening to. But when I heard Kill 'Em All, wow. And from there, you know, I started listening to all the other albums they had back then. And my first ever CD was the Black Album. And my dad took me to see Metallica in Oslo when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah,
Would that have been your first metal concert?
Yeah, that must have been. And at least the first, like, really big type of concert. And it was such an experience for me.
Oh yeah, you're starting at the top right there.
Yeah, it was insane, and I got really lucky because I was a member of the Metallica club, so I actually won a meet and greet.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah, and 14 years old, and I'm gonna meet Metallica. And I had a pre-meet and greet, like a pre-show. Sadly, they postponed that because they had to do some press interviews and stuff like that. But I was told to come back after the show. But after 2.5 hours of, you know, just overwhelming joy, I was really tired. 14 years old. It was pretty late, 1 a.m. or something like that. My dad was not allowed to come along with me.
Why not? Oh, to the meet and greet. Okay.
To the meet and greet.
I thought you meant the concert.
No. He was there with me, right next to me. But for the meet and greet, he was not allowed to join, obviously.
Yeah.
But luckily, there were some other people from my home area that we started talking to that was going to the meet and greet, so they took like care of me.
Nice.
But we sat backstage for well over an hour before anyone showed up. So it was 2 a.m. and I am pretty fucking tired. And Jason comes in, and he was the only one that came to the meet and greets. But still, it was insane. I went over to him, and I was so shy. So I just gave him like this little notepad thing, like, can you sign it for me? And he signed it, and he was like ready to have a picture taken with me, but I was so shy, so I just took the book, thank you, and I turned around, and I remember, no, I have to take a picture of him, and I had one of those one-time disposable cameras, so I just turned around, one picture, and left. And to this day, I regret it. Like, why didn't I just man up and just like do that picture thing? So
Have you ever crossed Metallica touring and doing festivals?
No, that would be insanely cool to do once, but I was really lucky back in 2014. I won another meet and greet when they played here in Oslo. I went backstage or to the meet and greet, and I met everyone except James. And then after the meet and greet, they told us that everyone here is allowed to see the show from the stage.
Oh, cool.
And we were allowed to bring one friend. So my sister was there, so I brought her with me. And we got divided into two. So there was like 20 people on one side of the stage and 20 people on the other side of the stage. And then they said, 3 of you will be picked out and you will get to introduce a song.
In the arena?
In the arena, on stage.
Holy shit, yes.
And my side, they said 2 people will be picked out from this side, and the other side there was 1. And this big ass security guy was standing there telling all the rules, and you're not allowed to do this or that, blah, blah, blah. And then he just picked out the guy. Do you want to do it? And he was like, yeah. And he went over to this guy and told him what to do and what not to do and what to expect. And then my sister just like punched me in the side. Espen, you have to raise your hand. when he asked who's going to be next, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And I stood there with my Master Puppets t-shirt, and I probably looked like I was 5 years old waiting for the ice cream truck. And the security guy just looked at me up and down. Yeah, okay, fuck it. You done.
Wow.
And he came over to me and it's like, so you heard everything I told this guy, all the instructions? And I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't hear anything of what he said. And then he said, well, if you fuck up now, she's not coming home with you tonight. Like, and I said, dude, it's my sister.
Shit.
Yeah, whatever.
Can't say that in 2020 anymore. Yeah.
No. And then I was the last of the three to introduce the song, so I got to see what they were doing, so I kind of what to expect. And it was the third last song. I got to introduce Whiskey in the Jar in front of over 40,000 people. Stood there with James. He was like holding his hand over my shoulder and just talking to me. I can't remember much of that moment, even though I hadn't touched alcohol that day, but it's euphoria and you're like, this is not happening. But when he said, okay, John, the stage is yours, do your thing. And he walked behind me and I just saw the audience, then I calmed down. And got the audience going, ran off to the side of the stage, watched the rest of the show. And at the end of the show, James came over to me, fist bumped me, and he said, you play the band.
Because of the way you handled the crowd, is that why?
Yeah. And you know what my response was? Idiot. No, you play in the band.
That was your time. That was your chance. You were going to say,
yeah, I know.
It's TrollfesT. Bring us out on tour.
I fucked up. And he just did like this to me. Okay, yeah, that's obvious. And my sister actually took a picture right when James was like doing that to me. Like, yeah, okay. So yeah. I wish I could have done that again and sounded a little bit smarter.
Third time's the charm, Espen. You're gonna get it. That third chance.
Crossing my fingers for that one.
I want to touch on the fact that you mentioned earlier you were in many more serious bands, and TrollfesT was the one that happened to get signed. Yeah. Me being in Cryptopsy, we take our shows, and it's not that you don't take your shows seriously. This is not where I want to make this sound like, but you guys have a lot of fun on stage. Like you guys, the costumes, you guys go out there and just are there to have a good time and incite a good party atmosphere for everyone. We go out there and we want to, basically destroy everything. Yeah. So we bring like a black cloud of negativity and energy when we come and play Cryptopsy. But you guys bring like a big pink fluffy one. So what does that feel like? And what is your mindset when you go out, when you guys created this TrollfesT live experience?
But it's just what you just said, we're doing it, we want to have fun. Because when I go to a concert, I want to have fun too, so it kind of felt natural when we started playing live with TrollfesT, because the other projects I played in was extreme metal and a black metal band. And don't get me wrong, I love doing that too. But you put the corpse paint on and you go into this kind of character thing, and like you said, we also wanted to just destroy the place. And but then the second we were done playing, corpse paint came off. We were silly idiots, and now I get to be this silly idiot on stage. I feel for me it's in TrollfesT I get to be who I am as a person on stage. I don't have to wear a mask or anything, so it felt natural. And now when we go on stage, we just try to come up with the most silly ideas we can and just get the crowds going and just have the best time that we can have.
I correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there's a Britney Spears cover, am I right?
You're right.
Talk me through that. You guys coming up with this idea. I imagine it was late at night after far too many craft beers.
Everything with TrollfesT is that's the recipe. No, with the Britney Spears song is we wanted to do a cover song, and everyone thinks that we picked that song because we just wanted to be stupid. or make fun of Britney or whatever. But the fact is, that song is really fucking cool. Like the melodies.
I agree.
We really liked it, and it kind of really fit into the sound of TrollfesT, the melodies and everything. So when our drummer brought this song up, it was like, hell yeah, that's perfect. That's a cool song. Let's do it. And then our vocalist came up with the idea of, I don't know if you've seen the music video with like short people.
Yes.
Yeah, he came up with that idea. He had seen a comedian doing it. And that kind of put like the silliness on top of covering a Britney Spears song. So, but yeah, it was, we picked that song because we liked it. And we have just been in the studio now too, or earlier this year. We have recorded an EP that will come out eventually.
Nice, with the cover on it.
There's 3 new cover songs.
Cool.
And I think again people will be like, why are you covering that song? But just wait and see. It's gonna be fun.
We have a mutual friend I want to give a shout out to, especially because he's right now lying in a hospital bed because he broke his hip. Massive shout out to that's what he said to you. To Rob Sherrod, your sound man. He's a good guy. And
yeah, absolutely love him.
Too bad that he's hurt himself and broke his hip, sadly.
Yeah, broke his hip. Yeah, I can finally call him an old man now. So yeah, I hope he gets well soon.
Same here. Yeah.
So yeah, sending all the love his way.
Yesterday you were shooting a music video. Take me through that. What is it like shooting a music video during COVID? Did you guys have to stay farther apart than usual? It must be hard to stay apart from your bandmates because you're like a family. You're used to being together. How are you guys approaching this?
Well, the political correct thing for me to say now is yes, we had the 1 meter distance rule, but no, that sadly didn't happen. It was way too much alcohol. And we just brought a couple of friends out to one of the islands just outside Oslo, and did an extremely silly music video for an even more extremely silly remix version of a song coming out.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. Yeah, it's kind of outside my comfort zone, this entire remix thing, but it's gonna be funny. I hope people see the fun part of it.
I interviewed Chris Bowman of Ailstorm, who are also a very fun party inciting band.
Yeah.
And one of the questions I asked him was, are you ever tired of being the party guy? What happens on tour when you don't feel like it? How do you get the energy to incite the party?
I love partying so much. It's there is a little bit too much partying going on when we tour. I like to compare it with getting on a extremely fast train and you're just going 100 miles per hour for a month, non-stop partying and just having as much fun as possible.
And how long does it take you? How long does it take you to recuperate after a tour?
Usually I have problems stopping when I get back home. Like I said, all of a sudden the train stops and you're left in nowhere man's land and you're standing there and you see the train disappear and what the fuck did just happen? So I try to like calm it down a couple of notch. I also have, like I said, I'm a computer programmer, so I have 8-to-4 job that I love doing. So of course I can't keep on with the same tempo when I get back from tour. So it's kind of a natural break that I have the work to go to. But yeah, it takes a couple of weeks to get back to normal after a tour.
Being the party band is very hard. You know, I can imagine that. It happens with me with the podcast. Everyone thinks I want to drink craft beer all the time, which I do. And then, so I can totally relate and see that. But the train is rolling. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think, and if you have, I'm sorry. Has there ever been a TrollfesT beer made by a brewery?
Correct. We did that with the release of our previous album, the Norwegian Fairy Tales. I got in contact with a brewery here in Norway. Had a meeting, and I explained to him like the idea behind our album that was going to be like 100% Norwegian folklore, and we were diving into like Norwegian folk music, like the melodies and everything. And I really wanted to do a Norwegian tasting beer. And we just sat down and had a very good chat, and he had so many ideas. And we're like, okay, let's do it. It's going to be fun. And he got, I don't know the English word for it. It's kind of the yeast that they use is a typical Norwegian yeast. Here in Norway, it's called kveik.
Yeah, it's super popular over here now.
Yeah, I heard rumors about that. So he got hold of that for the beer, and it was like a what's it called, farmhouse beer.
Yeah.
That's what we were going for. So he just went into the woods, picked a lot of different types of bushes. Yeah, and just put that into the mash or whatever it's called.
Cool.
Yeah, it was, and the cool thing is that we were invited not only to watch but to help him brew our beer.
You have to. It's the best.
Yeah, and that was a really cool experience to see how this is made. So me and the saxophone player in TrollfesT, we spent an entire day at the brewery.
Because it takes about 7-8 hours to make a beer, to get it into the fermenter. Yeah.
Correct. And then it took, was it 3 weeks, I think, for it to
mature.
Mature, yeah. Or was it a month maybe? So we had it ready for our release concert in Oslo.
So cool.
So we got the beer at the pub the day before the concert, so it was pretty close. And we went down there, a couple of friends or the bands to taste the beer, and we ended up drinking was it 50 liters of the beer.
Oh man.
Yeah, we don't understand how that was fucking possible. And this is the day before our show, so the next day we were so hungover, because you know this type of beer is really heavy.
Was it 5% or was it a bit higher?
It was 5.6 or 7, I think.
Cool. And what did you guys call it?
A really Norwegian name. Fjøsnesens fjasøl. There's folklore in Norway. There's a story about small, leprechauns, you would call it. They dress up with the red Santa hats. And
yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and they live in barns around at farms around in Norway, and they take care of the animals and making sure that the animals eat.
Gnomes? Is it a gnome?
Yeah, a gnome. Yeah, that's more accurate. And then every Christmas, you have to set out porridge to the gnome. And if you don't do that, he will or chaos on the farm and kill all the animals and everything. So this beer was kind of dedicated to this gnome, and it's also the opening song of our new album.
Cool.
The beer was sold out in record time.
Awesome.
The brewery were extremely happy with it.
What brewery made it? What's the name of the brewery?
Ass. There you go. No, it's in Norwegian it's Ås, so it's double A and SS, so Ås.
Cool.
But every American or English-speaking person, when it comes to Norway and it sees the name of the beer, Ass, it's always funny. I think it's actually the oldest brewery in Norway.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah, we were really happy with the entire process, and you never know, maybe it's something that we will repeat with a different type of beer, because they only brewed 1,000 liters of it.
And you guys drank most of it, so.
Guilty as charged.
Now that you're nursing a hangover, let's wrap this up with one last question. What is your hangover cure? When you wake up, what do you do?
I usually go for this. It's hair of the dog. A beer always helps. That's my motto. No matter what.
You have to stop after that one. That was the issue.
That's a problem. That's the problem.
John, thank you so much for taking the time, sitting down with me, talking about your life, your music, and craft beer. I really appreciate it. I can't wait till you come to Montreal. We'll hook up together. Or if I come over through Norway in the near future after the apocalypse, we'll drink some beer together.
Hell yeah. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. Holy shit, was John funny. What a great fucking episode. I had so much fun sitting down with him. He just blatantly comes out right at the beginning, claiming to be hungover. I love this dude. I want to go and drink one or maybe too many beers with him. He is someone that I can see having a very much fun with. A very fun yet dangerous friend to have. Massive shout out to John for hooking up with me and enjoying a hair of the dog brew with me. I really appreciate it. This episode was brought to you by Sound Talent Media. Until next time, I hope that you remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.